said it was impossible. They said,
you can't put together the most elite team of comic book reviewers on the planet and do, a podcast or something like that?
Despite all that, today we can proudly announce. Yeah, they were right. We couldn't do it. So instead, we brought you the most vile, ignorant, unprofessional group of comic book enthusiasts we could find. This is Panel to Panel, the Game Rage Magazine comic podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the next and latest episode of Panel to Panel. My name is Josh. I'm here today with good buddy Adam.
V For Vendetta, number 3.
Indeed, a number 3. If you want to hear more of our shit, go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. You can also follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official and go listen to the All Gas No Trash podcast. If you like anime and mangas, which if you like comics, you probably do, you should go listen to the Anime Syndicate, and you can follow Frank on Instagram at anime_syndicate_podcast. What?
You should change his Instagram name to F for Frank.
Dude, man, that'd be a good one. A for anime.
A for anime.
A is for anime. Dude, that's cool. I'm going to have to talk to him about that.
A for anime. V for Frank.
V for Frank. Anyways,
issue 3.
Issue number 3.
So we're fresh off of V committing more fucking murders.
Oh yeah.
Basically endangering a child with Evie now being his cohort for committing crimes and murdering people. She was used to lure a priest that is part of V's past. We don't exactly know, but there's some history between them. So we have this image of a man standing outside his cell with the room, the long mentioned room number 5 in these last couple of issues. A man standing with people. A flame. There's one in the fetal position, fucking with his ass bent out.
Yep. And this dude's walking out butt ass naked too.
Fucking naked.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Man, that's what we should have had the BFN show called the Butt Fucking Naked Show.
The Butt Fucking Naked Show. We do it raw.
Yeah.
So Evie's fucking pissed. She's like, dude, you involved me in a fucking murder. What kind of bullshit is this? He's like, well, when you signed up for this, we had a deal, so this is what you're in for. And he's like, you'll understand. You'll come around. You'll see. You'll see the grand vision.
And what's funny, she's like, killing's wrong, isn't it? And he's like, why are you asking me?
I just committed murder.
I just killed the guy. Like, what are you talking? Of course I'm gonna say no. Fuck off.
Yeah. It's also disturbing that a man that's doing all this chose to dress up as Guy Fawkes as his Geist, like his. It's like he's so charismatic that people forget he's kind of,
insane.
A little fucking insane. And we cut over to Almond and Mr. and Mrs. Almond. She's like, why don't you touch me anymore? Why don't you buy me flowers? He's like, shut up, bitch.
And he just fucking smacks the shit out of her. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And it's like, all she was saying was like, hey, do you want to fuck? And he's just like, shut up, bitch, bam. And then he's just like, I don't have to take this crap from you.
His marriage is falling apart. He's like, oh, you like that hussy, the bastard from the telecommunications arm of the government, the guy that peeps on people.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I know you want her. He's like, you don't find me attractive anymore. He's like, shut up, bitch. And he's like,
you know what's funny is this is like the typical, what you would consider like the white power fascist like move is shut up, bitch, and then fuck off. I'm cleaning my gun. Like
Alabama man.
yeah, this is Alabama
UK
man.
Alabama man.
Yeah, fucking Westminster man.
Sussex man. So he's like, I'm gonna go polish my gun, and then V walks into the shadow gallery and starts playing some music, and she's like, you know what? I'm sorry, I overreacted. Never gonna let that happen again. And then V, as stalwart as always, because his fucking face is a
fucking
it's
mask.
a mask.
Yeah.
And then Delia's like going back to her house after coming back from the coroner's office. She's like, oh fuck me. She looks distressed. She's like, oh god.
Oh man.
There's the figure.
Yep.
We see a figure, a man. There's flames engulfing the area, and you just see a man coming out, and she's like, oh shit. Violet Carson, and she ends up poking or protruding herself with the rose's thorns, and then we have I think we cut back to V, and
he's reading Evie like a bedtime story.
Yeah,
Which like, man, this was fucking weird. This was like what I was talking about that like he's
she's
also
16.
Yeah, I know, but like I think that's like the legal age in fucking England, but still, man, it's still weird.
Yeah, I think he's trying to give her, like, for all the things that V is, an anarchist and all this shit,
Yeah.
he's trying to be a parental figure to Evie, giving her, like, the comfort that she didn't have as a child.
Yeah, but the best part is he's crazy. So
Yeah, yeah. What better parental figure than V, who just committed murder?
yeah, and made her an accessory to it.
And then we cut back to Almond and Finch, and Almond gets the call. He's like, oh shit, what's up, man? He's like, yo, I'm piecing it together, dog. Like, I'm figuring out, like, I'm putting together
He's got that fucking thing, Charlie Day from fucking
the
It's Always
fucking-
Sunny. He's got the fucking board and he's like, ah!
yeah, he's like, oh man, I'm piecing all this shit together, got the strings and everything. He's like, you're losing your goddamn mind, Charlie. So Mr. Finch is like, dude, I think I stumbled on something. Room 5. He's like, Lark Hill, the camps. There was people that worked there, but they're all fucking dying.
Yeah. They
I
all
think-
died. Everyone except for these main characters.
Prothero, fucking
Yeah.
Lilyman. He's like, these are all people that have been at Lark Hill.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I think we might have his next move. It could be fucking Delia, who was also part of the Lark Hill experience, or the resettlement / concentration camps. So then we cut back to Delia, and she's like, oh God, like, she's like, Roses, it's you, isn't it? You've come to kill me. She's
he's like,
like,
yep.
yes,
Yes,
I
I
have.
have. Yeah.
She's like, oh, thank God. And then she goes on this whole spiel about, she's like, dude, I was so worried for like 4 years. I knew you were fucking alive. Like, I know when
Yeah.
that explosion happened, you were the one that got away, and you looked at me with these fucking eyes, and it was like, you looked at me with disdain, and I forgot. Oh shit. I jumped ahead.
Yeah,
I
you
jumped ahead, but yeah.
It cuts back to fucking Alabama man. Basically, wakes up his wife out of sleep and he just points his gun at her and just says bang.
Yeah. He's like, not tonight.
Yeah.
He's like, I wasn't gonna do it tonight,
Yeah.
but he's thinking about killing his wife.
Yep. And he's like, don't worry, I'll kill you another night. And then we go back to the nose where they're fucking filling out more of that shit. They're piecing it more together. Like you had said, they figure out it's Delia, and then they're like, oh fuck, we gotta get there. And then, but it's like he's already there.
Yeah, so as far as we know, Delia is like, it's kind of like an allusion to like Nazis. Like, yeah, they could have had a life afterwards, that they were doing all these good things, but there was another part of their past history. It's like they were doing all these horrible things, and she
Yeah.
happened to be somebody that was experimenting on all these
Yeah.
people, minorities, and eventually, like, so they start going through like her diary, and like all these people that they had accumulated, they start falling off, and then we get closer to like the last 10% of the people, and she's talking about like some of the things that happened. She's like, fuck man, like, you know, I was part of it. Like, there's no denying it. Like, I'm responsible for your creation, and like I was doing experiments, and I was torturing people, and you know, I looked at them like trash and shit, and just like, fuck, I enjoyed it. Like, that was me. That was me fucking like 5 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we
come back to Almond, and he's like, yeah? Oh, yeah, you got him? And he's like, good, I just got done cleaning my gun, and I'm a little bit sauced. Let's go kill this dude.
Right.
He's like, I'm on the way, bitch. I just arrived 10 minutes ago.
So his wife is like, I'll get you fucking, he's like, I'll get you fucking later.
Yeah.
And then the V and her are having this conversation.
Delia.
And having this conversation with Delia. It's like, man, this rose, I fucking knew was for me. Like, I knew it was going to end up here. And like, I knew you were going to come. And V's like, yeah, there's no such thing, or rather, there is no coincidence, Delia. There's only the illusion of coincidence. I have another rose for you. So more intently, he actually gives her one and lets her know, like, this is your fucking rose.
And
You're
then
gonna fucking die.
So then are you gonna kill me? And he's like, I killed you 10 minutes ago. And he shows us this syringe in his hand.
Yeah.
And she's like, is there any pain? And he's like, no pain. And she's like, oh, good, that's good. She's like, can I see your face again? And then he fucking takes off the mask, and she's like, oh, it's beautiful.
And which is funny because previously she said
he's ugly as fuck. He's ugly as motherfucker,
yeah. So then Almond arrives.
Almond gets there. Don't move an inch, you bloody bastard.
And what happens here?
He basically is like, oh, you fucked this up. You didn't even know I was here. He's like, I got you, bitch. He's got the fucking gun pointed at him. And he's like, they told me, he's like, the old bastard told me it was my head or yours. And guess what?
It's fucking
I'm coming
yours.
back with yours, bitch. And he's like, you're standing over there with your stupid fancy knives and your stupid karate gimmick. I got a gun, bitch. And then he goes to fucking pull the trigger.
Unwavered, because he's wearing the fucking mask.
Yep.
No problem for him. Wipes out Almond.
And he just fucks him up, just kills him dead.
So now Almond's dead.
Yep. And then they get there, and they're carting off Almond's body or Delia's body, one of those, and they're like, well, somebody's got to tell Mrs. Almond, and she's probably going to be like, oh, thank God.
I'm not going to get beat tonight.
I'm not going to get beaten and or murdered tonight. Excellent. And then he says, he's like, I'll see him dead for this, Dominic. I'll see this son of a bitch dead.
Yes, and Mr. Finch was under the illusion that Delia was like a good person, which I kind of got ahead of myself. But now we have the full diary, which is like her entirety, or rather, a large portion of her
It's the
journal
basically backstory for V.
Yeah, the Larkhill experiments and shit. And then Mr. Finch ends up meeting with Adam Susan, the leader.
You know what was funny?
What?
I thought he was going to say right here when he says, it's a vendetta, V, or it's a vendetta, leader. I think he would say a V for vendetta, and then like look at the like look at everybody through the panel. Like that would have been fucking hilarious.
Oh
like,
fuck no, that would just bring that this whole story down like in the worst way possible.
That would have been so funny. Anyways,
yeah. So then he's
explaining what happened.
Right.
That he poisoned her, and basically they didn't have a struggle. Almond showed up, and he was armed with a revolver. But because he was fucking sauced and threatening to kill his wife, and he was doing that fake thing where he was like, bang, he forgot to fucking load his goddamn pistol. And he went there with no fucking bullets, man. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, which begs the question, is like, did V know that? I don't know, because he is something of a cerebral figure.
Yeah.
Like if he could just piece together things that like how people were gonna get involved, like he was able to. But
yeah, I feel like this one was dumb luck.
This one was dumb luck for sure.
Yeah,
but,
I feel like that's what it was.
So we're getting exposition on her time in Larkhill, and let's see. Yeah, so then she's just kind of explaining the situation about them doing experiments and all this shit, and they started off with I don't know how many people. Let's just say 100.
Yeah,
I know there's an actual number, but for the sake of like brevity,
yeah,
we'll say there's 100 people, and she looked at them like they were less than human or subhumans.
Oh yeah, they were literal subhumans in her mind. Is what she was basically getting at.
People were being injected with these experimental things.
Like I don't even know what the fuck they were. It wasn't like saying it was vaccines. It was just like they were just injecting them with shit.
Yeah, it was like batch 5 or whatever, which is the Pantarian mix, and and then it would provoke certain things in certain people, like African people were more resistant to certain like things that would end up exhibiting in other people. So she was kind of like piecing together what certain iterations of like the injections that they were giving, and she's like, man, but we got to experiment number 5 because they whittled it down to like 5 people.
Yeah.
And V was exhibiting schizophrenic tendencies.
Yeah.
And she looked at him with disdain, and she's like, oh man, he's fucking hideous and all this shit. And she hated Louis Prothero like in their earliest days. She's like, I don't fuck with him. I don't think she cared for Lilliman either. And then, so then we get the lore about the Rose Garden, which V was like very perceptive to gardening and like agricultural shit. And he was growing these roses, and he was asking for certain chemicals, and he was like, I need these things in order to grow these things, because they wanted the concentration camps to be sustainable. So they ended up growing like vegetables and shit, but they're growing these violet Carsons.
And they saw that, oh, he could grow these flowers, like, oh shit, we should maybe make him grow the food and stuff.
Yeah, so then he got these privileges. He's like, I need this grease and I need some solvent. and she's like, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's been doing these things, these patterns, like in his own cell with like some of these materials. Like, what the fuck is going on? It seems really elaborate. Like, it's simultaneously chaotic, but it's also very intricate.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know what's going on. And then it turns out fucking V created like an explosion that just unloaded fucking mustard gas, and it just engulfed the concentration camps in flames. And she's like, oh my God, I saw the fucking figure. It was him.
Oh yeah.
The man from room fucking 5.
Oh yeah. That son of a bitch.
And she's like, oh man, I saw him. It was in utter horror. Like, fuck me. I'm scared of this goddamn guy. He's the one that got away.
Yeah.
I knew he's gonna come for me one day. And yeah. So she gives us a little bit of a rap on Delia Surridge.
And what's funny too is they talk about all the people that were at Lark Hill, and they're like, listen, man, he's killed fucking between 93 and 97. He's killed more than 40 people who worked there.
Right.
And all of them looked like accidents. He's been plotting this for years. And like the last 5, these are the ones or whatever that are left. And so then, he's saying Prothero's insane. The bishop made him swallow a poison communion wafer, which is fucked. And, sort of a gallows humor, I guess, is what they refer to it as. And then they came to Delia, and he, basically gave her the poison and killed her.
So I do think this plays into the first issue where he was talking about the world's a stage and it's all vaudeville.
Yeah.
He's doing these things in a poetic, like it's poetic justice in the manner in which he's doing things. But then also pointing out, it's like, well, what is his motive for all this shit? And they're like, we don't know if this is a personal vendetta like that he has with everybody, or if there was even a grander gesture from him. Is there a grander plan
design
in place?
Or something? Yeah. And but what's funny is they go on to talk about how they basically took, like, he ripped pages out of the book because he's like, oh, there's pages missing. So it's like the pertinent information that was about him specifically, he removed. So he's like, he wanted us to find this diary. It's like we're playing him, letting us know this information about him is playing right into his hand. So like he's 85 steps ahead of us. What the fuck are they gonna do? And
they also don't have a description of him. He removed all those details about himself, so now they don't have any idea who the fuck he is, other than he's a patient within room V5.
Yeah. And so then he says, the leader goes on to say, look, this just could be fake, blah, blah, blah. He might have never even been at Lark Hill. It could all just be some bullshit. And he's like, how do I believe that someone would kill over 50 people for no other reason than to provide himself with a cover story? That very idea is madness. And he's like, yes. I see. Very well. I think this will be all, Mr. Finch. England prevails. Oh, and Mr. Finch, happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Damn. End. Fucking that was a good ass issue, man.
Yeah, it is.
These issues are fucking great.
A sorely needed issue to give more exposition on V.
Yeah.
On top of doing more cool shit, and also being possibly fucking insane. So
Yeah,
it's like
that's the best part. He's fucking batshit crazy.
not quite the movie film where they make him look more heroic as opposed to being somewhere in between, like being a villain and a fucking hero.
Right, yeah.
And also
crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyways. All right, well, that was good. We'll stay tuned for the next one when we do issue number 4. But until then, if you want to listen to more shit, go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. You can also go and follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram, and you can go listen to All Gas No Trash the podcast. And if you want to listen to Frank, you can go listen to Frank at Anime Syndicate and follow him on Instagram at anime_syndicate_podcast. Man, F for Frank has to be taken. Like, there's no fucking way it is.
A for anime.
A for anime. Oh, man, that might not be taken. I might take that one. I might make a fake anime podcast Instagram and then link it to the Anime Syndicate one.
Instead of being Guy Fawkes, it's like an Oni mask.
Oh man, dude, that'd be funny. It's like it's V for Vendetta, but for anime. Anyways, all right. Well, fuck, that does it for us. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
That was Panel to Panel, the Game Rage Magazine comic book podcast. Thanks for listening. If you want to know more and follow along, go to Instagram and TikTok. Follow at Game Rage Magazine. If you want to follow on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Tune in next time.